I was getting a haircut when the barber asked if I came here alone. The scissors stopped mid-cut, and Marcus held them suspended near my ear, his reflection in the mirror staring at me with an intensity that made my scalp prickle. I'd walked into Precision Cuts 15 minutes earlier, desperate for a trim before my sister's wedding tomorrow. My regular barber booked solid, and this place the only shop with availability on a Saturday afternoon. Yeah, just me, I answered. Marcus nodded slowly and resumed cutting, but his movements had changed. Where before he'd been efficient and professional, now every snip felt deliberate, measured, like he was buying time. The barbershop was empty except for us, the other two chairs vacant, and the waiting area deserted. A bell above the door would announce anyone entering, and I found myself hyper-aware of that potential sound. My phone buzzed in my pocket, and Marcus's eyes flicked to it immediately. "You can check that if you need to," he said. I ignored the buzz and kept my hands visible on the armrests, suddenly aware of how vulnerable I was sitting in this chair with a sharp object near my head and a stranger behind me. Marcus caught my eyes in the mirror again and held the gaze for 3 full seconds before speaking. "How long have you lived in the area?" The question felt like a test. "About 6 years," I said. "Moved here for work." Marcus nodded and made a small sound of acknowledgement, then asked what I did for work. "I'm an accountant, corporate taxes, mostly." Marcus's reflection smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "That's good. Stable work. You married?" The personal questions were escalating. "No, I'm single. My sister's getting married tomorrow. That's why I needed the haircut." Marcus stopped cutting again and set the scissors down on the counter. He moved around to face me directly instead of working through the mirror. "Listen, I need you to stay calm and keep your voice normal, but I'm going to tell you something important." My mouth went dry and I nodded. "There's a man who's been watching this shop for the last 10 minutes. He's parked across the street in a gray sedan, and he's been on his phone since you walked in here." Marcus spoke quietly. "I don't think you came here by chance. I think someone sent you here specifically." The words made no sense, and I started to turn toward the window, but Marcus put a hand on my shoulder. "Don't look. Act natural. I'm going to keep cutting your hair, and you're going to sit still and listen." My chest tightened with fear. Marcus picked up the scissors again and resumed cutting, but now I understood he was creating a performance for whoever was watching. About 3 weeks ago, a young man came in here for a haircut. Mid-20s, nervous, kept checking his phone, asked for a specific style, very particular about it. Marcus trimmed around my ears while he talked, his voice low. Halfway through the cut, the kid's phone rang. He answered it, and I could hear yelling on the other end. A man's voice telling him he was being stupid, that he needed to come outside right now. The kid looked terrified and hung up. That's when he asked me the same question I just asked you. "Did I come here alone?" I told him yes, and he started crying. Said he'd made a terrible mistake and didn't know how to get out of it. Marcus paused and met my eyes in the mirror. 2 days later, his body was found in a parking garage downtown. Gunshot wound to the head, made to look like suicide. My blood turned to ice, and I gripped the armrests hard. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because when you walked in today, you had the same look that kid had. Nervous, checking over your shoulder, desperate for a haircut at the last minute. And because that gray sedan outside has been circling this block for the past hour. I watched it pass 6 times before you arrived. Then you walked in, and it parked. That's not coincidence. I forced myself to breathe normally. I don't know anyone who drives a gray sedan. Maybe you do, and you don't know it. Maybe someone's tracking you for reasons you're not aware of yet. Or maybe you're in some kind of situation you haven't fully recognized as dangerous." He turned off the clippers and picked up the scissors again. "I'm going to ask you some questions, and I need honest answers. Have you noticed anyone following you recently? Strange phone calls? People asking about your schedule or routine?" I thought back over the past few weeks, and my stomach dropped as memories clicked into place. There had been a coworker who'd been unusually interested in my weekend plans, asking multiple times about my sister's wedding and where it would be held. A wrong number call to my cell where the person had stayed on the line, silently, for 30 seconds. A car I'd seen parked outside my apartment building 3 nights in a row. And 2 days ago, someone had tried to break into my car in the office parking garage, failing to get in, but leaving scratches around the door handle. I'd reported it to building security, but hadn't connected it to anything larger. I told Marcus all of this and watched his jaw tighten. "You're in danger," he said flatly. "I don't know the specifics, but that pattern is surveillance. Someone's been watching you, learning your routine, waiting for the right opportunity. Coming here today, alone, was exactly what they wanted." My hands started shaking and I pressed them against my thighs. "What do I do?" Marcus glanced toward the window again, his expression grim. "That sedan hasn't moved. Whoever's in it is waiting for you to leave. If you walk out that door right now and get in your car, I think something bad is going to happen to you." Full story is linked below or on my channel.